In the hushed glow of his cramped Brooklyn studio, where the air hung heavy with the sharp tang of graphite and fixative, Alex felt like a god among mortals. Here, he bent reality to his will, coaxing souls from blank canvases with nothing but his hands and a burning vision. But step outside those four walls, into the relentless grind of New York City, and he was just another ghost, divorced, scraping by on freelance illustrations that barely covered rent, forever labeled the failed dreamer by those who once called him family. The split from Sarah 3 years back hadn't just severed a marriage, it had ripped open old wounds, exposing him to the relentless judgment of her parents, Victor and Lydia. Old money from the Hamptons. They saw his art as a joke, a hobby for the weak-willed, not a vocation for a real man. Starving artist, Victor would sneer at gatherings, his voice dripping with that polished venom only the elite could muster. Since the divorce, they'd weaponized their wealth against him, drowning their grandson, Ethan, in lavish gadgets and trips. All to whisper in the boy's ear, "See? Grandpa's world is the one that matters. Dad's just pitiful." But Ethan's 8th birthday loomed like a battlefield. And for months, Alex had labored in secrecy, channeling every ounce of his shattered heart into a gift that money couldn't touch. No flashy toy, no fleeting thrill. This was a hyper-realistic graphite portrait of Ethan, larger than life, capturing the boy's mischievous grin, the faint scar on his chin from that playground tumble last summer, the way his eyes lit up like city lights at dusk. It was Ethan's essence, distilled through Alex's grief and love, a silent scream against the void. That morning, as he wrapped the canvas in plain craft paper, nothing fancy, just honest, his phone buzzed. Sarah's voice cut through, laced with that familiar edge of exhaustion and disdain. "Alex, don't screw this up. Be on time." Mom and Dad pulled out all the stops, caterers, a petting zoo, the works. He gripped the phone tighter. "I'll be there." A pause, then her sigh, heavy as judgment. "And please, tell me you didn't just draw something again. Ethan's growing up. He needs real stuff, not your sketches." The words landed like punches, but Alex swallowed them. "See you soon," he murmured. Hanging up, he stared at the wrapped canvas, his masterpiece hidden beneath humility. To them, it was trash. To him, it was ammunition. Pulling up to Victor and Lydia's sprawling estate in the suburbs, manicured lawns stretching like green empires, a fountain gurgling mockingly, Alex felt the familiar knot in his gut tighten. The party pulsed with excess. A massive inflatable obstacle course dominated the yard, a clown twisting balloons into absurd shapes, and a gift pile that could rival a department store display. Guests in designer casuals mingled, sipping craft cocktails, their laughter a barrier he couldn't breach. Ethan spotted him first, weaving through the crowd with unbridled joy. "Dad." The boy's hug was a lifeline, pulling Alex from the edge. "Happy birthday, kiddo," Alex said, handing over the package. Ethan's eyes sparkled, but before he could tear into it, Victor swooped in, his cologne a cloud of false warmth. "Ah, Alex made it. Huh?" He eyed the plain wrapping with a smirk, turning to a cluster of his cronies. "Ethan, champ, stash that with the big leagues. We've got drones and VR sets that'll blow your mind, not whatever DIY projects in there." Laughter rippled, low and cutting. But Alex held his tongue. This wasn't his war to wage loudly. Not yet. Lydia glided over next, her pearls gleaming like accusations. "Dear Alex," she cooed, her sympathy a thin veil over pity. "So thoughtful of you to show. But really, with your situation, you shouldn't strain yourself." She glanced at the canvas, now relegated to the table's edge like an afterthought. Heartfelt gestures are sweet, but bills don't pay themselves, do they? Alex met her gaze steadily. It's from the heart. Lydia. That's what counts. She patted his arm. Condescending as ever. Of course, dear. Of course. The next hour dragged like a slow bleed. Alex lingered on the periphery, a shadow in faded jeans amid silk and linen. Watching Ethan unwrap a parade of extravagance, the latest gaming rig, a custom bike with all the bells, even a signed baseball from some pro league star. Each reveal drew gasps and applause. Victor and Lydia basking in the glow, their generosity a spotlight on Alex's supposed inadequacy. But amid the crowd, one man stood out, an elegant silver-haired figure. Mr. Beaumont, a renowned art dealer and Victor's distant acquaintance. His eyes kept flicking to Alex's gift, a flicker of intrigue in his poised demeanor. Finally, the gift opening crescendoed. Ethan perched on a plush chair, the mountain of wrapping paper at his feet. Victor's presents went first, naturally each one bigger, shinier, drawing more ooze. Then, with theatrical flair, Victor hoisted Alex's package high. And now, folks, he boomed, his grin wolfish. Let's unveil the grand finale from our resident Picasso wannabe. Bet it's another doodle to frame in the garage. Chuckles erupted, Ethan's cheeks flushing with second-hand embarrassment. Alex's pulse thundered, a storm building in his chest. This was the precipice. Ethan peeled back the paper, revealing the portrait inch by inch. The chatter choked off, replaced by a vacuum of stunned quiet. No crude sketch, no amateur scribble, this was artistry incarnate. Ethan's face rendered with haunting precision. Every freckle, every lash a testament to paternal devotion. The boy's wild curiosity, his quiet vulnerabilities, all laid bare in shades of gray that breathed life. Ethan broke the spell first, his voice a whisper of wonder. Dad, it's me. Like, really me. He traced the drawn jawline, eyes misting. Victor and Lydia froze, their smug facades cracking like cheap porcelain. They dealt in stocks and estates. Not this raw power, the kind that stripped away pretenses and exposed the soul. Mr. Beaumont approached then, parting the crowd like a sea. He knelt, examining the work with the reverence of a pilgrim. My word, he murmured, his accent refined, eyes alight. This isn't mere portraiture. It's alchemy. The depth, the emotion, it's transcendent. Standing, he faced Alex directly, ignoring the hosts. I'm a dealer in fine arts. Son, this rivals the masters I've handled. I'd pay $75,000 on the spot to add it to my collection, right beside a Hockney I acquired last year. The yard erupted in a new silence, thicker, laced with shock. Jaws slackened, whispers ignited. Victor's Scotch glass trembled. Lydia's hand flew to her throat. Their empire of excess, culminating in that absurd electric scooter they'd paraded as the ultimate gift, paled against this valuation. Alex met Beaumont's gaze, then Ethan's beaming one. Thank you, sir. But it's not for sale. It's for my son. Ethan's pride swelled, untainted by the adults' games. To him, it was magic, proof his dad was a hero. Victor and Lydia's world tilted, their mockery had backfired, revealing their shallowness in glaring light. Sarah, hovering nearby, stared at the portrait, her eyes softening for the first time in years. Not at the money, but at the love etched in every stroke, a love their fortune couldn't counterfeit. Beaumont chuckled, slipping Alex a card. Wise choice. But if you ever produce more, I'm your first call. Talent like yours deserves the world. He nodded curtly to the hosts and departed, leaving devastation in his wake. The party unraveled, guests murmured excuses, eyes gleaming with scandalous delight. Victor rallied feebly, slapping Alex's back. Well, hot damn, our boy's got chops. Always said so. Right, Lydia? But Alex just smiled thinly, turning away. Come on, Ethan. Let's head home. Sarah intercepted them at the driveway, her voice fragile. Alex, that was incredible. I'm sorry for doubting. For everything. He nodded once, wordless, and drove off with his son, the portrait between them like a shield. Beaumont's offer wasn't empty. Weeks later, he mentored Alex, opening doors to galleries and collectors. Commissions flooded in. Alex's hobby became a career, his name whispered in art circles. Sarah thawed, their co-parenting mending without her parents' toxic shadow. The true reckoning came at Alex's debut show in a sleek Manhattan gallery, walls alive with his visions. Elites toasting his rise. Victor and Lydia appeared uninvited, oozing false praise. Alex, old sport, we're thrilled, family investment in your future. Alex faced them coolly, voice carrying. Thanks for stopping by. But you're not family anymore. And my work's not for your portfolio. He walked away, their relevance dissolving like mist. At evening's end, alone with Ethan before the unsold centerpiece, the portrait, Alex knelt. Kiddo, your grandparents chased worth in dollars. But this? It showed them values in the heart. Ethan's nod was solemn, their bond unbreakable. In that quiet triumph, Alex's revenge wasn't vengeance, it was rebirth. Born from pain, forged in silence, exploding into light.